Hey all, it's Kayla, the mastermind behind Edgelordess, and today I'll be doing another tier list video. This time it's Shall We Date Games M through Z, characters within games M through Z. So I believe that is My Fairytales 2 about Oz, if I'm not mistaken. There's so many Shall We Date games that it's not even funny. And I'll be doing this video different than I did with the first Shall We Date video, because I realized as I was editing this, the previous video, that I would say somebody was average looking, but then I would put them into cute, and I found that didn't make any sense. So appearance wise, I don't care. Using that scale of 1 to 10, 1 being very average looking for an attractive guy and 10 being sex god, I'd give this guy a 1 or a 2. I'm just gonna put him into cute though. So I not only created a PowerPoint, but I also created an Excel spreadsheet that gave different qualities that I found attractive. So I'll be basing this off of appearance, charisma, and personality. So personality and appearance is on a scale 1 to 10. So for appearance, a 1 would be average looking for a dating sim, and 10 would be like a sex god. For personality, a score of 1 would be like the absolute worst person in the world, and 10 would be like the best person in the world. And charisma is on a score on a scale 1 to 5. Jesus, I cannot talk today. That's because I've not played all the Shall We Date games, and that is strictly based off their wooing phrase that they have. Now, certain games didn't have wooing phrases, so I'll be judging those a bit differently. But let's go over the categories and what they are. So there's Marry Me, which is a score 18 and above. So these are characters that are attractive on all aspects. Appearance, personality, and charisma. So then there's Dateable, which these are guys I would date, but probably nothing long term. Like, I'd give them a score between 14 to 17. We might have sex, we might not. It depends on the character. Then there's Bangable, which are characters I would fuck. They would have an appearance of at least 7. Their personality may vary. Like, they might be like a terrible person. I'd still fuck them regardless. So that's purely based on looks. And then there's Cute, which are characters I like to look at, but I probably wouldn't date them. These are characters that would go in the friend zone. So they would have a 10 to 13. And then there's Not My Type, characters that are unattractive on all aspects. Like, they would have to have a 9 and below to fall in this category. Now, there will be times where I break the rules because certain characters are underage, and there's some murderers in this group too. Which is unattractive. One last thing, if you notice my audio quality or voice is changing between segments of this video, that's because I recorded everything on different days. I spent 6 hours filming the first draft of this video and probably spent another 4 reshooting. That's because the first draft of this video had extremely high standards and about 50% of the guys were listed in Not My Type. So instead of re-recording everything from the very beginning, I left in the first draft when it comes to bios, but added new commentary. With all that said, let's start dating some guys. So we're starting with Cindo, who says, "Swear to become my slave," and I don't think I want to. You kind of scare me, buddy. There is a noble member, an ex-noble to be precise. After the death of his mother, he has been living with his stepfather, whose mother married and has 2 sons of their own. His wicked stepfather and unkind stepbrothers didn't like him at all. They even made him a servant in his own home. Unable to accept his own fate, he's desperate need to find a rich and powerful woman to marry to get it all back. In front of others, he does his best to look good and polite as a gentleman. On the inside, he's proud, mean, and a nasty sadist. So I find his phrase to be a little off-putting. Yeah, it's kinky, but like, it's a little too much for me. Like, I'm all for doms and subs, but I'm not for the master and slave thing. And he's greedy, mean, and just not a nice guy, but he looks good. I'm giving him an appearance score of 7, a charisma of 1 just because he is kinky, and a personality of 3. That gives him an overall score of 11. He's going into Bangable because of his high attractiveness. Then we get Gretel, who says, I'm nervous when I'm with you, but I want to spend more time with you. He likes making things and dislikes his own hands. His hobby is cooking, and he likes doing detailed work. He's a novice in art, so does a troublesome brother, Hansel. He admires and respects not only his father, but Hansel because he's great talent at art. One day you meet Gretel, who's lost in the forest. He looks at you and blushes because you're a pretty girl. He is shy and reliable. Can you get out of the forest together and return to home safely? So, for those who've not seen my unscripted videos, I am terrible when it comes to reading out loud. Like, I fumble on words all the time. It's completely normal. There are even some cases where I have to re-record things just because of how unintelligible I sound. Let's talk about Gretel. So this is the artsy but shy type, and I cannot date shy guys. But I like that he likes art, so I'm gonna give him a personality of 5. Like, a 5 doesn't mean that they have no character, it just means that they might be balanced. That in some cases it means they're boring, and this character's not boring, he's just balanced. I'm giving him a charisma of 1 because he's interested in me, which is good. In attractiveness, like, he's like a standard celebrity, so I'll give him a 5. That gives him an overall score of 11. He's going into cute. Ocean, who says, times are fleeting like sea foam. He likes flowers, dislikes fishermen. His hobby is man watching, so I'm assuming that's like people watching. And his skill is sea magic. He's a handsome merman of the sea kingdom. He's unsatisfied with his life in the sea. He longs to live freely like humans do on land. On a stormy day, he's caught in the storm and washed up to shore. You saved him and eventually agreed to help fulfill his human wish. However, what's waiting for you two is the sea witch's frightening trap. Damn it, what should I do? He says with a dagger in his hand. I raise the dagger over my head and, can you change his fate? So this character seems pretty adventurous and he's good looking. Like, he's a merman and that is sexy. Like, I like his hair, I like his tail, I like his outfit. And I'd give him an attractive score of 7. His phrase didn't quite woo me. It was just kind of like a standard phrase, so I'm giving him a 0 in that aspect. And because he's adventurous, I'd give him a score of 7 in personality. That gives him an overall score of 14. He's going into dateable. Then we have Shaun White, which is the guy I chose when I was playing My Fairytales, and as I was playing the game, I just found him very weird. Like, he came off like the exact replica of the Disney Snow White, where he's just very innocent and pure and doesn't know a lot about the world, so pretty naive. And I just did not find that attractive, to the point where I had to choose a different guy in the end. So I think I made it to chapter 10 with Shaun White, and then chapter 2 with Thumbelina, just because, like, the game got really expensive to play. So this is Shaun White. He says, I didn't give you a kiss to wake you up. Well, close your eyes. He likes me, dislikes sour food, and his hobby is picnics with animals, and his skill is singing. A prince ran away from his new father, also the king of his life. He's been since living in the forest with little people. I will never return to the castle because I'm happier here. But his sorrowful looks gives him away. It must be a complicated relationship between him and his stepfather. He's changing since you've met him. Can you find his true happiness? So this guy looks really attractive. Like, I'd give him a 7, and his phrase is sexy, so I'd give him a 5, even though he's, like, naive and doesn't know a lot about the world. And for that, I'm giving him a personality of 3, just because he's just really weird, and I need a guy who's experienced. That gives him an overall score of 15. He's going into bangable. Thumbelina, who says, haha, you need me, don't you? He likes cake, dislikes pheromones, his hobby is teasing me, which I like. His skill is making people his prisoner. A thumb-sized man who was born into a tulip. Handsome and suggestive, he possesses a special pheromone that can make people his own prisoner. He seems to have dated many women, but he actually doesn't know who his true love is. One day you get dismayed to find out that you have shrunk. He talks to you and becomes interested in you because you're different than the other women he has met. Can you help him find true love? So this guy has sex powers, which is interesting. I'd give him a charisma of 4. Appearance wise, yeah, he looks like a standard celebrity, so I'll give him a 6. And he's pretty bland in personality. Like, I'd give him a 5. That gives him an overall score of 15. He's going into dateable. Inojo, who says, "You're asking me out? I'd love to." He sometimes tricks you but repays you in kindness. He's 5'8", his age is 27, and he likes girls, so he's like a flirt. I like that. He's the hottest man that appeared in front of you when the Mononokes attacked the castle. Confident and selfish and mean, but you rely on him when you're in trouble. He's a sexy playboy, but sometimes he gets lonely. Why? So the neon hair is a little bit much for me. Like, if it was a darker color, then I'd say, like, he would have, like, a 6 or 7, but because of his hair color, I'm giving him a 3. As for charisma, like, he has a good wooing phrase, and he is a ladies' man, so I'm giving him a 4 in that aspect. And a personality of 5. He's pretty balanced because, like, he's reliable, but he's also mean. He's selfish, but he's also caring. So that gives him an overall score of 12. He's going into cute. Hajime, who's the guy I chose when I was playing Mononoke Kiss, who says, "Don't bother me, okay?" So he doesn't really want me around, and yet I'm really attracted to this guy. A one-eyed dragon king. He controls the climate, the wind. He's 5'7", age 20, and he likes sake. The most mysterious man of the 4 men that appeared in front of you when the Mononokes attacked the castle. He always smirks and dodges questions, but he sometimes shows his emotion, which attracts you a lot. He hides his feelings behind a smile, but what happened to him in the past? So he looks really good. Like, I'd give him a 7, and while I was playing the game, I did find him to be flirtatious and a bit of a tease, so I'll give him a score of 3 in charisma, even though his wooing phrase didn't quite woo me. It was very aloof. And I'm giving him a personality of 6 because he does care about me, but I don't remember any of his other qualities other than he's aloof and a flirt. That gives him an overall score of 16. He's going into dateable. Hikobane, who says, "I'll protect you for the rest of my life." A creature in a monk outfit, which has a beaked face and black wings that give him the ability to fly. He's 6 foot, age 20, likes grilled fish, especially sweet fish. He treats you with courtesy and good manners, but his face is impassive, so it might be difficult to understand him. There seems to be an emotional distance towards you. How will you make him smile? Jesus, I cannot read. So appearance-wise, I give him a 6, so like a standard celebrity. A charisma of 2 because he is protective of me, and he's polite, so that's good qualities to him. And a personality of 6 because he's polite, but he's distant. So that affects his score a little bit. Like, I don't want to be distant from my partner, but that gives him an overall score of 14. He's dateable, despite him, like, just being distant. So this is Raizo, who says, "I cannot take my eyes off you." He's a hybrid monkey, tiger, and snake, so that's quite a combination right there. His height is 6'2", age 23, and he likes grass-flavored rice cakes. There's no one who can defeat him. Despite his scary appearance, he's kind to women and has a caring side. Strong and reliable, you would give your all to him. So he kind of looks like a hotter version of Naruto, a character I've never found that attractive, but I'd give Raizo a 5. Charisma, I'm giving him a 5 because he did sweep me off my feet. And in terms of personality, like, he's polite and caring and reliable. Those are all good qualities, so I'm giving him an 8 in that aspect. His total is 18, but he's not quite marry me material just because of his attractive score is a bit low. I'm putting him into dateable, though. Now I accidentally included Genosuke. He's one of the antagonists in the group that you can't date, but because he's in my tier list system, I had to include him. There was no way of taking him out. So he's a possessive and easily angered. He has little considerations for people's feelings, is persistent in pursuing his own desires. His pride is justified by his strong abilities and powers as a demon. He's frequently condescending to those he considers beneath his level. So he's just overall terrible. Like, he's possessive, he's a sociopath, he's condescending, but goddamn does he look good. I'd give him a 10 in appearance. Charisma 0 because he's not really a dateable option. And a personality of 1. So that gives him an overall score of 11, but you know what? He's bangable. So this is Ryuzubaro, who I accidentally forgot to include in my tier list system, but he's in there now. He says, "You can always count on me." A type of creature that has been considered sacred existence in ancient times. They manipulate water and weather. He's 6'3", age 32, so he's an older guy, which I like. And he likes sweets. One of the 4 men that appeared in front of you. He's the peacemaker and like a big brother to everyone. He takes care of you and is trustworthy. He's a little too grown up for you and it's hard to approach, but there's sides of him that you still don't know. So attractiveness, like, he looks really good. Like, I'll give him a 7. Like, if he had darker colored hair, I'd probably give him an 8 or 9. Something about the Mononoke Kiss, like, I'm not a fan of the art style because everything is so bright that it's a little overpowering. Charisma, I'm giving him a 1, just because he's protective of me, and I'm assuming he's like a gentleman as well. And a personality of 9 because he's mature and like trusting, so those are both good qualities to have. I'm giving him an overall score of 17. He's dateable. Moving on to magic swords, starting with Ray, who says, "Do not leave my side without my permission." So he's kind of kinky. And he's also protective, which are both good qualities. He's 27. His race is a magician, but that's not really a race. That's more of a class. His weapon is a rod and a spell book. He's one of the 3 traveling with us. He's a very gifted magician, comes and goes as he likes without telling. Cool and collected, he can be quite selfish sometimes. He teases me when he's in a good mood. While at times he has a serious face, I find him mysterious. So he looks really good. Like, I'll give him an 8 in attractiveness. Charisma, he's like a bit of a flirt from what I read on the wiki. And his phrase was quite flirtatious, so I'll give him a 3 in that aspect. And a personality of 6, because he's like cool but selfish and like a bit of a player. So he's pretty balanced. That gives him an overall score of 17. He's dateable. Ethan, who says, "All you need is me to protect you." He's 24. He's a swordsman, which again is not a race, that is a class. His weapon is a longsword. A born leader to keep us all together. He's kind, strongly guided by his own conscience, and he has a feeling of what is right and wrong. One thing, he wouldn't let me fight along with him. That's because... So he looks like Hyo from Fruits Basket, who's kind of attractive. Like, I'll give him a 6 in attractiveness. A charisma of 3 because he's very protective of me. And a personality of 6 because, like, he's protective, he's a strong leader, but he's also lawful, which takes off a point, just because I don't like lawful characters. So that gives him an overall score of 15. He's going into dateable. Then there's Estelle, who says, "The only man who's allowed to touch you, and that's me." Yeah, I'd allow you to touch me all you like. He's 26, and he's an elf, which is an actual race. And his weapon is a bow and a knife. Known for his gracious fighting skills and stunning look, the man treats you like, the man whose treasure nature like his life. That sentence didn't make any sense to me. When you're first introduced, he looks familiar to me, like we've met before. Why does it feel like that he keeps staring at me? Was it a sign or just a misunderstanding? So he looks really good. Like, I'll give him a score of 9 in appearance. Charisma of 5 because he's seductive and I like his wooing phrase. And a personality of 8 because he's like protective of me. He's a gentleman and like he's also a childhood friend of mine. So that gives him a total of 22. He's going in to marry me. So then we get Nagato, who says, "Want to treat me like a child? Before you know it, you'll be all mine." And as much as you'd like to think that, dude, you're too young for me. You're like 16. You're obviously going into not my type, but I'm gonna read off his bio anyway. The idol of his brothers, always acting tough. He's the youngest prince and very much loved by his brothers. He's surrounded by adults and he acts older than his age, perhaps more mature than several of his brothers. He's serious and pure and thinks too much about things, but I'm sure you can help him relax a bit. So I kind of feel guilty giving this guy a score in the first place because he is underage. So in appearance, I'm giving him a 1 as he looks pretty generic and he's also a child. A charisma of 1 because he does have a wooing phrase. And while he is mature for his age, that can mean really anything, and teenagers aren't mature at all, so I'm giving him a charisma of 3, making his overall score of 5. He's going into not my type. So then we have Avla, who says, "I'm your knight in shining armor. No one else could fill my shoes. Wild and naughty mood maker." Ooh, okay. He's 23, and is the most cheerful and lively princes, warming to his surroundings like the sun. He has a mental age that leaves him to be something to be desired, but he makes friends easily and is a popular man. Even if he's depressed and troubled, he never shows it in his actions. His heart is seemingly indestructible. I hope he knows how to vent his frustrations too. So appearance-wise, he looks really good. Like, I'll give him a 7. Charisma of 4 because he is friendly, and I did find his wooing phrase to be attractive. And a score of 8 in personality because, like, he's cheerful and friendly. But he's a little bit immature. If he did have some maturity to him, I'd give him a 10, but I'm giving him an 8 in personality. That gives him an overall score of 19. He's going to marry me. Chesum, who says, "What? I'm trying to read a book here." So he doesn't want me around. I don't know how I feel about that. Wise but inexperienced, intellect and tactician. He's 20 years old, and he doesn't like people or noise very much. He tends to be in his own room. He gets very adamant about things that interest him and loses sight about his surroundings. He's also a bit of a scholarly type. He has an acquiring mind, so he might be interested in an exotic person like you, my lady. So he doesn't like people, which is not a good sign, but appearance-wise, like, he's like a standard celebrity. I'll give him a 4. Charisma is 0 because he just doesn't want me around. He seems pretty aloof. And I'm giving him a personality of 3 because of that same reason, and he also likes to read, and I don't like reading. Like, that's only -1 point. It's -2 points for the antisocialness, so that's why he has a 3. So that gives him an overall score of 7. He's going into not my type. Ivan, as the butler of the palace, I have to teach you many things. Do you understand me? Loyal retainer of the royal family, a stuffy butler. He's 40 years old, an extremely distinguished gentleman and butler at the royal palace. He never shows fear or trepidation at anything and remains calm, making the most perfect butler imaginable. Everyone who works in the palace receives his strict leadership, but is also strict towards himself, and no one knows when and where the good man ever sleeps. He's trusted by his royal highness and all the princes, and it's no exaggeration to call him a necessary entity of a country to function. Jesus. So appearance-wise, he just doesn't cut it for me. Like, he looks like a typical shoujo love interest for, like, older women. So I'm giving him a score of 1 in attractiveness. He is a gentleman, which I'll give him a charisma of 2. And a score of 7 when it comes to personality, because he is a gentleman. He's pretty calm, but he's also strict. That gives him an overall score of 10. He's going into cute. Then we get to Jun, who gets what he wants and is wicked and ambitious. And I like wicked men. Like, I love bad guys. They're always so attractive to me. So he's 23. He excels at scholarship and martial arts. He's even political wits and knows how to get noticed by the environment. He calculates his actions, and people tend to think of him as calm and collected. But he's actually one of the most overbearing ones. Once he finds his target, he will obtain it at all costs, which tends to scare people. I guess you can call him single-minded. So Jun is sexy. Like, this is the reason why I chose him. Like, I give him a 10 in appearance. Charisma of 2, because there is a scene where he tries to get the bracelet by pinning me to the bed, and I found that really sexy. And a personality of 7, because he is smart and he's, like, aware of these issues, the issues in his environment, and tries to resolve them as his duties. So that's a good thing. So he's like an activist in a sense. So that gives him an overall score of 19. He's going to marry me. Lambert, who says, "Who allowed you to come in here? There's no place for you. This is no place for commoners." A haughty prince with no eye for common folk, so he is not a nice person. He's 26, he's proud and haughty, and slanderous people claim that he's a cold person. The truth is, he's very patriotic and is trying to exemplary member of the royal family, which some people will perceive as cold-heartedness. He values tradition and never reflects his actions, which is a result of heavy responsibilities as a prince. Perhaps you can take a load off Mr. Lambert's back. So he's attractive. Like, I'll give him an 8 and a 1 in charisma, because there is a side story where you, if you chose Jun, like, you get to cheat on him with Lambert. Cheating is not a good thing, kids. I don't condone it. But yeah, he was pretty seductive, so I'll give him that. He doesn't have a really good wooing phrase, but he seems pretty standoffish. That gives him a personality score of 3, making his overall score a 12. He's going into bangable because of his high appearance score. Melchior, who says, "Can't you see me tomorrow? I won't let you go until you promise. Every girl's my lover. The prince spreads the love." Ooh, okay. He is age 30. He takes care of the family and always keeps an eye on everyone. He helps everyone in need and is constantly giving advice. His kindness has won the hearts of many girls and is hardly ever without female company. He's the first prince, making him closest to the next king, but he's declining the succession. His Royal Highness never speaks to him of this, so everyone except Mr. Lambert is merely looking on. So, in appearance-wise, I'd give him a 7. Like, he's above the standard celebrity, which is good, so I'll give him a 7. Charisma of 4, because he's a ladies' man, and he did sweep me off my feet. And a personality of 8, because he's kind and, like, gives people advice, which is good. So he's, like, a bit wise, but he's also a bit lazy, which is why he doesn't have a 10 in that area. But he's still marrying me material, because his score is 19. So then we get to the Nephilim, which honestly I did not play because I hated the art style. Everyone looks so unattractive. Like, they just have like this sickly look to them. It's just awful. So this is Jean, who died on January 1st. Likes girls, so that's a plus. Dislikes Orlando. He nags me like a nanny. The ladies' man, but maybe he's just the guy who wants love, just like you. So attractiveness, he is sexy. Like, I like that his shirt is wide open. He looks like a king. So I'm giving him a 9. In charisma, I'm giving him a 4 because he is a ladies' man and he does have a wooing phrase according to the wiki, which I'll post here. And I'm giving him a personality score of 5 because he's lacking personality and I'd like to know more about him other than he's a player. So that gives him an overall score of 18, but because his personality score is so low and his appearance score is so high, I'm putting him into bangable. Then we get to JJ, who died on April 18th, likes studying, dislikes a question without an answer. It may be worthy to study, but in memory of JJ, an acknowledgeable doctor, rest in peace. A scientist who died while thinking about death. To develop a love potion, he asked you to give you a lecture about love. Will he be able to understand love? So, I don't like his outfit that much. Like, I like the aesthetic of the steampunk look, but the midriff is a little bit weird, and he's wearing a monocle and goggles, which is really unnecessary. Pick one of the two, dude. So, appearance wise, I'm giving him a 2 because I like the aesthetic going on, but I hate the rest of it. Charisma, I'm giving him a 1 because he does have a wooing phrase, but he's a little bit forward. If it was a little more charming, then I would have given him a higher score. And the only personality quirk that I know about him is that he's smart, so I'm giving him a personality score of 6, making his total 9. He's going into not my type. Then we get to Leo, who died on August 17th. He likes surf, or to surf. I'm not really sure. The Firewolf, and dislikes snow. He rests the soul of a mad warrior. No one shall awake him. His awakening will mean war. The passionate king, blazing land. He gets into a fight all the time with King Jean, but they're good friends. He's always come to the land of the dead looking for a bride, but who knows what would happen. There's a few typos in this game I'm starting to realize. So despite the art style, he looks really good, like he's almost shirtless. So I'm giving him a score of 8. In terms of charisma, I'm giving him a 2 because he's a hopeless romantic and he does have a forward wooing phrase, and a personality of 5 because he's also lacking in personality, making his overall score 15. He is going into bangable because of his attractiveness score. Man, I wish I played the Nephilim because they do have good looking guys, just the art style is off-putting. Orlando, who died on June 20th, he likes art, dislikes the king, a foolish Casanova. Gravestones surge you power, otherwise no one can control him. An earl, he's the right-hand man of the king due to his traumatic experience during his life. He can't love anyone else. How can you prove love to him? So, this guy looks really effeminate. He kind of looks like Lady Gaga if Lady Gaga was a man. But he looks better in other pictures. It's just this picture just does not look good. So I'm giving it an appearance of 4. And a score of 2 for charisma because he's a hopeless romantic and his phrase is rather wooing. And a personality of 6 because he's artsy. That gives him an overall score of 12. He is going into cute. Then we have Pale Ghost, who died on January 1st. Dislikes crowded places and likes dark corners. That's very boring of you, buddy. The inscription is illegible. He says, "Can you really see me? A ghost who's only visible to you. He seems to be hiding something from you." So, this guy, he looks better with the hood on, which is saying a lot. He also looks very sickly and ghostly, and yeah, I know he's a ghost, but it's just not attractive to me. So I'm giving him a score of 4 in looks. He doesn't have a wooing phrase, so I'm giving him a 0, and he also lacks in personality, so I'm giving him a 5. That gives him an overall score of 9. He is going into not my type. Felipe, who looks honestly quite normal in comparison to the other guys. Maybe I should have played Nephilim for all I know. He died on March 22nd. He likes reading, maybe. He doesn't like the prince who failed to save the princess, maybe. I'm not sure who he's referring to. Here lies poor Felipe. May his body find his own spirit. Survivor of the Death Kingdom, a poet who wandered into the Nephilim even though he's still alive. He seems to be having a secret. God damn, did this guy look sexy. Like, he reminds me of like a Spanish bard kind of character, so I'm giving him a 10 in appearance. According to the wiki, he's a ladies' man and his wooing phrase is quite hot. So I'm giving him a 3 in charisma. He's artsy, but he likes to read, which kind of balances his characteristics. So I'm giving him a 5 in personality, and that makes it 15. And because of his high attractiveness score, he's going to bangable. Then we get Skeletino, who's literally a fucking skeleton. Like, Jesus Christ. His date of death was August 31st. Likes beautiful love stories. Dislikes rotten zombie JJ because everyone thinks we're twins. Honestly, I don't see the resemblance. Here lies my best friend. Together we cried, laughed, and lived. But I don't know his name. Bones, he's always on your side, caring for you. Talkative and romantic. He is obsessed with love stories. Oh boy. So appearance-wise, this guy gets a 0 because it's a fucking skeleton. I'm giving him a charisma of 1 because he is a romantic type, though. And he has a great personality. Like, he's passionate, loyal, and he has a sense of humor. There's this really funny bit about having a great personality, where basically people say things and they don't know what to say about their friend.
It's weird. I'm getting used to my looks. I'm growing into them. I wasn't this together back in high school. Not that I was an ugly duckling. I was just a duckling with a good personality. It's what your friends say about you when they don't want to lie, but they don't want to tell you the truth. And if she doesn't have a good personality, she's really smart.
So that gives him an overall score of 9. He's going into not my type. Like, I don't know which is worse, the skeleton or the kid. Well, maybe the skeleton would be better because at least it might be of age. So this is Victor, who died on May 21st. Likes family, that's what I want, and that's not really what I want. Dislikes another me, says it's Orlando. Here lies the lonely monster, Victor. Please, all people of goodness, offer a drop of tear or a single flower. So he's also like a romantic type. Frankenstein, a doctor of the Nephilim. He is made of human body parts. His personality is different every time you see him. He's looking for a bride. So appearance-wise, he looks really good. Like, he looks like a cross between a sexy version of Frankenstein and a devil. So I'm giving him an 8 in appearance. He's the type that's looking for love in all the wrong places. So I'm giving him a charisma of 1. And because he's temperamental and the lonely type, I'm going to deduct some points there. That gives him a personality of 2. But because of his overall appearance, he's going into bangable with that total score of 11. Moving on to Ninja Assassin, we are starting with Aoi, and I realized as I was going through all their bios that some of the characters in Ninja Assassin don't really have a wooing phrase, so they're a bit of a handicap when it comes to their charisma score, but let's start looking at their profiles. But we're starting with Aoi, who says, the judge of the afterlife summons you. He likes beautiful hair, he likes doing hair, dislikes aggressive women, and his skill is making hairpins. He seems to be frivolous, which means, like, not very serious, and I had to look that word up because I'm dumb at first sight, so he's playful. But he has a sharp tongue and sometimes shows his kindness towards you. He works as a hairdresser at the daytime and carries out a mission at the nighttime. There seems to be something that happened to him in the past. So he's also really sexy. Like, I love the hair. It's a little too bright, so if it was a darker color, I'd give him a 10. Um, and charisma, like when I was playing his route, like I remember him being popular with women, and he would flirt with me, and he was quite a gentleman. So I'm giving him a 5 in charisma and an 8 in personality because he has like an effeminate side and he's loyal. So that would be an 8 in personality. That gives him an overall score of 21. He's going into Marry May. Ichika, who says, I will protect you. He likes sweets, his hobby is fighting, dislikes spicy food, and his skill is sprinting. Well, I'm assuming because he's a ninja he could sprint, but yeah, okay. Your childhood friend, straightforward, gentle, and conscientious. In the beginning, he's just your childhood friend, but you come to realize his feelings towards you, and something has slowly changed within you. So, appearance-wise, he looks underage, and I kind of feel weird about that. Um, but if he was of age, I'd give him a 3, because he looks like a typical ninja. He's pretty protective of me, so I'll give him a 1 in charisma, and a 6 because he's loyal. That gives him an overall score of 10, but because he might be underage, he's going into not my type. Hitoka, who says, how was my last stage? He likes pretty girls, his hobby is hugging people, dislikes rugged men, and his skill is dancing. A popular kabuki actor, he enjoys dressing up as a woman's clothing, which I find sexy. Although he behaves as a woman, he's not gay, he only has eyes on you. At first you're bewildered by his behavior, but you start becoming attracted to him. So, the neon pink hair is a little too much for me. Like, it's very off-putting. Like, it just doesn't fit his character. Like, if it was a lighter pink, it would probably look pretty good. So I'm giving him a appearance of 3, a charisma of 1 because he does like me, and that would be attractive to me. And a personality of 8 because he seems pretty extroverted and he's in tune with his feminine side. So that gives him an overall score of 12. He's going into cute. Kinshiro, who says, vigilantes, it's time for battle. So he's like a leader type character. He likes the Edo town and dislikes unjustified manners. Hobby is collecting smoking pipes, and his skill is mind reading. The leader of the vigilantes by night, but during the day he's a magistrate of the South Ward. You're finally settled into a new place to live, Hyokotake. One day you realize you're attracted to him, but to Kenshiro, you look so much like his ex-girlfriend. So he looks really good. Like, I like his outfit, and his shirt is open a little bit, so I'm giving him an 8. He doesn't have a wooing phrase, so I'm giving him a 0, and a personality of 4 because I remind him of his ex, and that's a little bit weird. So that gives him an overall score of 12. He's going into bangable because of his high appearance score. Natsume, who says, let me know what hell is like, will you? Flattering. He likes books, and his hobby is writing. Dislikes women, so this is gonna go very smoothly. Skill is speed reading. He's a rental bookshop owner. He has a serious look on his face and often can be blunt. The sulky Natsume can be cold. That's because he's a shy person and hates women. The more you spend time together, you're slowly becoming attracted by his kindness hidden underneath. So appearance-wise, like, he looks like a typical celebrity, so I'll give him a score, or a 4 in appearance. He's sexist, so I'm giving him a 0. And a personality of 4, because he hates women, but he's kind at the same time, so it kind of balances itself out. That gives him an overall score of 8. He's going into not my type. Sion, who says, how was the view from there? Likes cute items. His hobby is walking around the town. Dislikes conflict. and his skill is a cheesy smile. He's the second son of the rich merchant. He seems to be sleek and laid back, but his ninja skills are awesome. In fact, he carries out a mission with a smile on his face, but he actually suffers from a traumatic experience. What is it? So again, the neon hair just doesn't fit well with me, so I'm giving him an appearance of 4. He doesn't have a wooing phrase, so I'm giving him a 0. And a 6 in personality, because he's pretty laid back and he has a sense of humor according to the wiki, and I like a man who's humorous, so that gives him an overall score of 10. He's going into cute. Soji, who says hell is waiting for you on goddamn, these phrases are not flirtatious at all. He likes working, his hobby is caring for swords, dislikes evil, and his skill is fighting. Soji is fronting as a constable, cool, calm, and unsociable. He's dedicated to his job, he believes in justice. He might be a little shy, but he's kind to everyone. What made him join the vigilantes? So this guy kind of reminds me of Itachi, and Itachi is one of my husbandos. Like, he has, like, similar characteristics with the hair and the eyes. So I'm giving him an appearance score of 8. Because he doesn't have a wooing phrase, he gets a 0. And I'm giving him a 3 in personality because he's shy, and that's a turnoff for me. That gives him an overall score of 11, but he's bangable. Wakasa, who says, how do you feel right now? He likes the study of medicine. His hobby is examining ingredients of medicine. His skill is compounding medicines and dislikes something beyond him. He is the town doctor, whose townfolk must trust in him. While he usually has a smile on his face, there's something behind that smile. So he's like a typical celebrity. I'll give him a 5. He's 0 in charisma, because same reason as the other few guys. He doesn't have a wooing phrase. And he's smart, which gives him some points, so I'll give him a 6 in personality. That gives him an overall score of 11. He's going into cute. William, who says, it sounds like my marriage proposal to you, and already this guy is forward. He likes Japanese food. His hobby is having a cup of tea, which I like. He dislikes persistent people, and his skill is negotiation. A blonde-haired Dutch merchant who has saved your life. As a way to show you your gratitude, you start to help him out with his business. Gradually, you fall for him, getting to know how much of a gentleman he is. However, he has another face that you don't know. So this guy is sexy. Like, I give him an 8 in appearance. He is a gentleman, according to the wiki, so that gives him points in charisma, so I'm giving him a 1. And he's very businessy, which I don't really like. Like, I like a smart man who has, like, good leadership skills, but I don't know. Someone who's obsessed with business is just not for me, so I'm giving him a 4 in that area. That gives him an overall score of 13. He's going into bangable. Goman, I'm cold, so come a bit closer. I'm not going to do anything silly. So he's 6'2". As a ninja, he has great authoritative powers. He stands out a bit when he's moving on his own, but takes his job seriously, and he can be trusted to do anything by himself. However, he's a bit of a player. He has been instructed not to lay his hands on you, princess. So I love this guy's outfit, and I love the tattoos. Like, tattoos are like a turn on for me. So I'm giving him a score of 8 in appearance. His phrase was pretty wooing, like, I'm fanning myself, and he's also a touchy-feely guy, which I like. So he's getting a charisma of 5, and a personality of 7 because he's assertive and trusting. That gives him an overall score of 20. He's going into marry me. Kataro, who says, it's my job to protect you, princess. I am ready to sacrifice my life for you. He's 6'1". an exemplary ninja who is guaranteed to successfully complete missions you give him. Considering the extreme difficulty of most of his tasks, this is saying enough. He doesn't talk much and he doesn't seem to have many friends. It seems that he has a rough past, but perhaps he'll open to you, princess. So appearance-wise, I'd give him a 7. He looks like a older version of Soul Evans if he were a ninja. I'm giving him a charisma of 1 because he is protective of me, and a personality of 2 because he's a shy and a loner type. That makes his overall score a 10, but I'm not putting him into bangable as he seems more like the submissive type, and I prefer to be on bottom. So I'm putting him into cute. Musashi. I'm pretty sure I butchered his name. All I need is swords, but then why do I feel like touching you so much? So he's 6'1". The Master Swordsman is known for fighting 2 blades at a time. He doesn't belong to any clan or region, and his sole purpose is to fight strong fighters. And it's said that he doesn't even think about anything else. Apparently he's cute when he's not carrying his swords, but once he grabs this blade, he becomes a merciless warrior. What will his quest for power lead to? So this guy is also pretty sexy. Like, I'll give him an 8 because his shirt is wide open, and I love his kimono and his hair. He's stunning. Charisma a 4 because I did like his phrase, and he's rather touchy-feely, so that's really good. And a personality of 3 because he's a bit too obsessed with his swords, and he has a bit of an ego, too. But he has a score of 15. He's going into bangable. Minori, who's the guy I chose when I was playing this game, who says, "You need me, right? I'll make you understand with your entire body." And I am fanning myself right now. He is sexy. The leader of the Yagyu clan. He's a famous tactician as well as a swordsman, making him both a good warrior and a good scholar. His actions are in the name of his family, and he's always rational. Few people know his true feelings. The Yagyu family is known for their swordsmanship, but it seems like some of them are on the move around the shadows just as much as ninjas do. So appearance-wise, he gets a 10. He's just so sexy. And his charisma is a 5 because of his wooing phrase. Personality, I'm giving him a 7 because while I was playing his route, he's rather protective of me, even though he's a tease. He's also pretty loyal, and he's also really smart, so I'm giving him a 7. That gives him an overall score of 22. He's going to marry me. This is the third Hattori Hanzo, who says, "We live in 2 different worlds, you and me, princess." He's 5'10", and he's a mature and reliable head of the Egan ninjas. He has legendary powers acknowledged by other clans, much about love. He's famous for being a bit dim in that regard. So, he looks good. Like, I'll give him a 7. Like, he's, typical celebrity, but, like, borderline sex god, so that's good. Charisma a 0, because while he does have a wooing phrase, it's just very distant. And in terms of personality, he has like a lot of good traits, like he's mature and reliable. So I'm giving him an 8. That makes his overall score 15. He's going into dateable. Nobugana. Nobanga. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Sounds like you just don't want to admit the truth to yourself. The leader of the Oda clan, a ruthless and violent warlord who is trying to take over the world. He fears his power of the ninja and has ordered his son Nokubatsu to wipe out all the ninjas. So this guy looks scary, but his shirt is wide open, so I'll give him points in attractiveness. So I'm giving him a 3 in that area. He's not very charming, so I'm giving him a 0. And he's overall a terrible person, so I'm giving him a 0 on personality. That gives him a score of 3. He's going into not my type. Renoshin, I'm not looking for love. I've devoted my life to medicine. So he's a doctor who's 5'10". He studied medicine under many teachers and has been offered positions as a doctor by feudal lords, but he has chosen to keep following the path of improvement to deepen his knowledge. Ren has even came to the Iga furthered his studies. Some people are deeply moved by his desire that saves lives. His only flaw is he falls asleep. Not even an earthquake can move him. He tends to sleep anywhere he wants, which has caused him considerable trouble in the past. So appearance-wise, something about him just doesn't scream attractive to me. Like, he's not average looking. He's rather unique, but something just isn't vibing with me. So I'm giving him a score of 2 in attractiveness. Charisma of 0 because he isn't looking for love at all, so I don't know why he's here. And a personality of 5 because he's smart, but he's lazy, so that kind of balances each other out. That gives him an overall score of 7. He's going into not my type. Saizo, do you even know what you're saying? Don't even think about telling other guys that. The master of disguise and the more intangible than the fog. He is especially adept at infiltrating enemy territory and gathering intelligence using disguises. He may feel cold and distant, but he takes good care of his subordinates and is generally well liked. So this guy looks really good. Like, I like his outfit and his like stoic expression, so I'll give him a 7 in appearance. He's rather protective of me, so I'll give him a charisma of 1. And in terms of personality, he's cold, but he's loyal at the same time. So I'll give him a 5, but a balanced 5. That gives him an overall score of 13, but because of his high appearance score, he's going into bangable. Sasuke, who looks more like Naruto than he does Sasuke. He's young, but he's still considered to be one of the biggest assets in Koga. He's as nimble as a monkey, he can fly from tree to tree, and he can take down enemies in a heartbeat. He still has some childish qualities to him, and he's pretty reckless, but those are his strong points as well. His cheerfulness is especially integrating. I don't know how to pronounce that word. So this is another character who looks like Naruto, but if Naruto had long hair and was attractive. So I'll give him a score of 5 in appearance. I like that he's somewhat possessive of me by his wooing phrase, so I'll give him a 1. And a 4 in personality because he's a bit childish, and I don't like childish men. I need a mature guy in my life. So that gives him an overall score of 10. He's going into cute. And this video is starting to get rather lengthy, so I'm going to split this video into maybe 3 parts because, oh boy, do we have another load of guys to get through. See you in the next video.